So when I look at adding and subtracting these two fractions here, I look at the denominators and I ask myself what factor is missing from one or the other. Okay, so in this case here, these have factors of a and b. This has only a, so this one's missing a factor of b. So then I need to times by b on the top, times by b on the bottom. This gives me my common denominator, and I end up with 1 over ab plus 2b over ab. And again, when I add the numerators, I have to make sure I don't add this to make this isn't 3. Okay, this is 1's, this is b's. We cannot combine those together. So we're going to have 1 and 2b's all over the denominator of ab, whatever ab is. We have no idea what it is, but we know that it's common, and we can count these in terms of the ab in the denominator. Okay, and when we're done, please don't do something silly like cancel these out, because these are not factors. Only factors or multiplying pieces cancel out. This plus in the middle here makes it so that this is not allowed. Okay, so we cannot cancel out those terms as factors. Okay, there we go. So looking at example 5 here, we can see that this has a factor of x, this has a factor of x. What's missing from the right-hand side is that they're missing a factor of 2 and another x. And so I'm just going to put the 2 and the x in the denominator, make sure I balance the numerator. I now have a balanced fraction. Now they have a common denominator, so 5 over 2x squared plus 2x over 2x squared. The denominators are the same. I don't add the numerators if they are not like terms. I just keep it separate. And this is all over 2x squared. Now the rules are slightly different when we go to times and divide, and because since it's times and divide, we can group things in terms of its factors. And really, when it's times like this, all it is really just one big fraction. Times on top, divide on bottom. If we have factors that cancel, we can cancel them out. So we can just write this as 18 over 72. And we can see that they share a common factor of 18, in fact. So if I divide by 18, I get 1 over 4. Now that could be achieved by doing this as well. We can cancel out common factors, 3 and 3, so I'm left with 3 here. Common factor of 2, so I'm left with 3 here, 4 here. These factors cancel out, so I end up with a 1 over 4 in that way as well. So it's maybe easier and better to cancel factors, because then we're not dealing with such big numbers or big powers. So here I'm going to simplify these fractions. So I'm going to common factor of 3, so I'm left with a factor of 2 here. So the number parts are all done. And really for the x's, I can just count. I've got 3 x's on top, 5 on bottom. So I'm going to have an extra 3 on bottom. Okay, so I can do this in steps as well, and maybe I'll do this in steps. I'm going to have x cubed on top. Okay, we're going to end up with 4x to the power 5 on bottom. We have 2 extra x's in divide, so I end up with 4x squared. Anytime we cancel with multiplication or division, we end up with a factor of 1, so that's why the 1 stays up there. When I'm dividing, okay, I need to flip the second fraction, because if I'm going to do the opposite and multiply, I need to do the opposite here as well. Now, one thing I should maybe make note of is I really should state non-permissible values. So I can't divide by 0, so this x here can't be equal to 0. So those are my restrictions. Now I maybe should state some restrictions here. Okay, I can't divide by 0, so y can't be equal to 0. Okay, x can't be equal to 5. Okay, because I'll make that denominator equal to 0. And since this x is going to end up in the denominator, really literally it says divide by x cubed, the x can't equal to 0 either. So I actually have quite a few restrictions here. So once I've established the restrictions, I can start canceling things out. So I'm going to end up with 2x y cubed, and all I really want is just to put the times where they belong and the divides where they belong. Okay, so then I can start canceling factors. Now this x, it cannot cancel with this. These are not factors. This is all has to be considered one piece, okay, because of the minus in there. So now as I group it like this, now I can treat it as a multiplying piece. Okay, I'm going to simplify this fraction into 2 over 6 becomes 1 over 3. I have an x here, which is going to cancel with an x here. Okay, it's starting to get messy, so I need to start keeping track of things here. I don't want to do too many steps at once because I start losing track of things. So I have 3, I have an x squared, and I have a y cubed. And at this point, that's all I can do. That's as far as I can go with simplifying this.